webinar is on employability through upskills and conducted by KCT Engineering College, Department of Skill Department and Entrepreneurship and Livelihood and Institute of Engineers. So basically the question comes, what is skill development? So we try to understand what exactly meant by the skill. So the definition of the skill development goes something like that. It is a systematic and planned process that works on enhancing the overall competency. So this word to be underlined here is the competency of an individual or a group. So in simple terms, the skill is nothing but ability to do the work. For that matter, you can consider any domain. You can consider educational domain, you can consider technical domain, you can consider commerce domain, you can consider arts domain, any domain you consider it. So if the person is able to perform, or if the person is able to deliver the things which is expected by the organization, by the government of India, or by any for the purpose for which he is working. If he is able to perform it, so then we call it as a skill. The development of skill related with the development of the competencies. So normally when we talk about this skill development, one more word will always join with this one. That is the entrepreneur. So there is always a saying was there that entrepreneurs are born and entrepreneurs cannot be made. So now you look at around the global, there are quite a few examples are there. So where the people have become entrepreneur on their own, sheer because of their competency, because of their involvement, they have become a very successful entrepreneurs. The skill is not the born one. The skill is the one which we can develop. Remember, skill may be pertaining to a particular domain or it may be to different domains. How to develop this skill? So this is a roadmap, we can say that one, or these are the different stages also you can call that. Always the skill starts with the cognitive level. The cognitive means it is a mental ability to understand the things. That one we call it as a cognitive. In simple terms, the ability to learn. The ability to learn, ability to understand, ability to apply the knowledge which has been understood by us. So these all we call it as a cognitive skills. And here I would like to make a point that in this particular webinar, many faculty members are there and many college students are also joined this webinar. The education system in India has changed a lot. Probably I could not bring that slide here, but let me explain it in orally. Just before independence, there was a Gurukul or Madrasa type of education was there. So where the education used to be run by the senior persons or the senior students. So automatically the student who has got an ability of cognitive, he used to become teacher. The rest of the people used to follow him. So that was a what you call system. After independence, we started what you call a education system where a teacher will speak to the several students at a single time, and every time all 60 students will be moved from first standard to second standard to third standard. So that is based on the examination which was conducted at the end of the year. After that, there was an era, probably when I was very young. So government has started one scheme, what we call it as a education for what we call old persons. Okay, so vayaskarigagi shikshana. Okay, so there was a what you call ratri shalegalan tegita idru, what you call night schools were there. So there the focus was only on the literacy. Government wanted to have a literacy rate, higher literacy rate in India. At that time, they targeted not the kids, they have targeted the younger, old people. So in this way, the education or the literacy has started in India. So somewhere if it comes under 90, so there was a scheme, what we call it as a Sarva Shikshana Abhiyan. Probably everybody might have seen a boy and girl will be sitting on a pencil. They are moving it. And there is a rule is now made that any kid, whether it is a male kid or a female kid, under 16, he has got a right of education. So from literacy, see, we shifted to the education. So from education to we shifted to the what you call technical education, or in all I can call it as a higher education. There were very few engineering colleges, very few polytechnic colleges were there. So people used to struggle to get the seat in that one. So after that, the education has opened up. So in every district, engineering college is there. In every district, the what you call medical colleges are there. Now education has shifted to the third stage. Literacy to the education up under 16, everybody is became literate, and the third stage, I call it as the educated one. When people undergo graduation, 3 years of undergraduation, I'm calling it as an educated class, literary class, primary what you call education class, a higher education. I'm talking about it is the education class. Now you can see that one, all kinds of education, not only engineering, polytechnic, nursing courses, any course you call, any course you name it, at least you have what you call 2 to 3 colleges in one particular city. So Kalaburgi is very lucky. Kalaburgi is very lucky. 6 engineering colleges with 4 medical colleges, 2 dental colleges, n number of PUC colleges, n number of polytechnic colleges, and 4 universities. Now, in olden days, if a person was literate, he was thought to be the what you call intelligent person. He was the most educated and intelligent person. In villages, people used to give him lot of respect. But those days have gone now. Those days have gone now. So literacies have no meaning. Primary education has got no meaning. Even the situation has come, the higher education also not having any minimum. Earlier days, let me make it little more clearer to my audience. कोई पढ़ने वाला पढ़ने लिखने को आता है तो सबसे होशियार आदमी समझा जाता था एक जमाने में. अब तुमको लिखने पढ़ने आते तो कोई केयर नहीं करता. तो छोटा बच्चा भी बोलता मेरे को भी पढ़ने आता, मेरे को भी लिखने आता. जैसे जैसे वक्त गुजरते जा रहा है आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस से, तो रिक्वायरमेंट जो है वो बढ़ते जा रहा है. पहले लिटरेसी आए तो काफी, प्राइमरी एजुकेशन मिले तो सबसे काफी, अब हायर एजुकेशन मिले तो वो काफी नहीं है अब, बिकॉज दैट हैज बिकम द मिनिमम व्हाट यू कॉल बेंचमार्क. Education up to graduation level has become a benchmark. So if you say that I am graduate one, so I am not going to get any employability. So that's why the cognitive skills has got the first basic step. It has become minimum bare skill that each one should have. So after that you should have a technical skills. It may be any technical skill. I'm referring it as a very general format. It may be engineering, it may be health, it may be commerce, it may be anything. So let's say that one cognitive skills are there and technical skills are there. Both are there. So you might have seen that one. Whenever the North Karnataka people from Gulbarga, when they go to the Bangalore, when they try to apply for the what you call jobs or anything, they face a simple problem of communication. So we have a degree, so we have a technical knowledge. Now it is not enough, but you should be in a position to communicate in a very fluent manner. You should able to express your idea. You should able to what you call sell yourself. So that is the requirement of soft skills. So cognitive is no more importance. Technical is no more important. The minimum with these two, you are not going to success. You should have a soft skill. Let's say that I have brought up in Bangalore. Cognitive level is very good and my technical level is also very good. I'm very much fluent in English. I can communicate with it. So if I fail to work it in a team, if I feel it in a work team, or if I able to go with the people to understand interpersonal relationship, if they are not good with me, so I cannot work in MNC company. So that is the fourth requirement, or that is the fourth skill that everybody should have. Remember, if you want to reach the fourth interpersonal skills, that you cannot get without cognitive, without technical, without soft skills. So if you get all these four with you, automatically you will get the life skills. So that is along with IQ, intelligent quotient, we require EQ, that is emotional quotient, where these interpersonal skills will come. When life skills come, the SQ is also there. Spiritual quotient is also there. So these are the what you call quotients are required to yourself to get the skill, or yourself to call that you have developed a skill. So these are the different domains. I'm just saying that one. These 5 points are true for any domain: communication, aviation, marketing, civil engineering, whichever domain you take. So everywhere these what you call skills are needed one. So already Panchal sir has talked about it. So let me repeat it, or reconfirm, or I will tell you one more time so that it will fit in your mind, that without skill we cannot get the progress. So knowledge is no more going to work out, because when my classmates were passed out, even if they were able to type in the computers, if they are fluent in computer, typing in the computer and operating the computer, that self they used to be called as a software engineers. Now can you think of that one? It can't, because a small kid is capable of doing all these things. At the age of 10, 13, small kids started coding. And even if you look at it around it, the number of educated people has becoming more and more. So hence the competition is there, because everybody is having cognitive skill, everybody is having what we call it as a technical skill. So now there is a importance is there for what we call the, along with the knowledge, there is importance for the skill is there. Okay, it may be intelligent skill, it may be emotional skill, it may be performing skill, it may be of any type of skill pertaining to that particular domain. So with this, keeping this in mind, the government of India has started a Skill India in 2015. So according to its website, it says that we got 40 sectors are there where it will promote the skill development in India. The remaining details are I have listed here. So I don't want to get into the more details of that one, because NS Panchal sir briefed us about the what you call the different schemes. I am talking about the importance of the skill. See, government has opened up the skill. Unless and until we make use of it, it is not going to benefit it. After my what you call speak, how it can be effectively utilized, this will be addressed by the Dan Shetty sir. So BVS Sangha Polytechnic College of Bagalkot is successfully implemented these of the schemes. So that's why I request all the participants listen to my scheme, listen to my presentation, and keep it in mind that the Dan Shetty sir will tell you how to convert them. So again, I will back to my presentation. So Skill India is an initiative of central government. Now all state governments are also have been involved here. Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Yojana is there, Chief Minister Mukhyamantri Kaushalya Yojana are there. So these are what you call, according to this, some 92 lakh people get skilled. This is the data what it says. So India is a country today with 65% of youth. Actually, it is 20, 30, 36. I think there we reach the 67%. right now we are in the 37th cycle of demography. When Panchal sir talked about it, when any person when talks about the skill, definitely he will touch upon the point what we call it as a demography. So I am also would like to talk about the demography because there is a direct connection is there between the demography and the skill, because the skill will going to fed the country, or it is going to increase the economy of the country. To increase the economy of the country, the higher education also plays an important role. So let's see how it helps in my further webinar. So here is a small illustration of what you call definition of demography and how the demography makes impact on the economy. Normally, one more word is there associated with the demography, that is dividend. So demography is nothing but it is a what you call study of population, that how many men, how many women. This is we used to call it as a census, that is for the election one. This will give you all the details. How many women are there, how many men are there, how many young people are there, in what age group, how many people are there, what is their social status is there. In short, all social, the what you call documentation, when we make a study of it, that is we call it as a normally demography. So demography will give you the dividend. The dividend is the word which is used to what you call show that when some kind of profit is there. So dividend is output of a process. Dividend is output of the process. So now we are using a word demographic dividend. The output, what we get it because of the demography, or the because of the distribution of the young people, aged people, and kid people, how it will reflect in the economy. So that is what we call it as a demographic dividend. So I hope that one I have made clear what you mean by the demography here. So in simple terms, the demography means there are relatively more hands to earn, higher per capita income leading to higher savings and the growth. So in simple terms, demography बोले तो कमाने वाले हाथ ज्यादा है, खाने वाले हाथ कम है. इसका मतलब जो छोटे बच्चे हैं, जो बूढ़े बुजुर्ग है, उनका नंबर कम है. So this is what we call it as a what you call the meaning of this one. There are relatively more hands to earn, that is higher capita income leading to higher saving and growth. Right now India is young. Right now India is young means कमाने वाले हाथ कम है, खाने वाले हाथ कमाने वाले हाथ ज्यादा है, खाने वाले हाथ कम है. ये डेमोग्राफी डिविडेंड 3 फेजेस में आता है. ओके, every country pass through the 3 phases. तीनों फेज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. फर्स्ट फेज इज improved income and health reduces the infant mortality rate and baby boom population explosion rises. So next word is also very important. The increase in dependency ratio, the number of dependents per income earner, this will become improved. It means what? Earners are more, dependent earners are less. So this is what happens in first phase. What happens in the second phase, you see? So the baby boomers, once regarded as a population curse, grow up. जो छोटे बच्चे थे वो क्या होते हैं अब? They grow up and create, I will underline this, grow up, create unprecedentedly large army of earners. Okay, so boosting GDP. Okay, so this is first demographic dividend. Example, India, Australia, Indonesia. So second demographic dividend. So we are going to get it in 3 phases. Now I am talking about second demographic dividend. So in the second demographic dividend, so we are going to have improved health. Okay, expected life will increase. Okay, so second demographic dividend we are going to get it. So what happens here? The GDP accelerates. In short, first dividend yields transitory of bonus. The second transforms bonus into greater assets and sustainable development. Now you might have heard everywhere, everybody talk about the sustainability. So sustainability is very important because this demography moves in first phase, second phase, and third phase. In first phase and second phase is give the dividend. If you fail to create assets and if you fail to take up the right policies for the sustainable development, this demographic dividend will convert into demographic disaster. This is a perfect phrase. Every speaker will make use of this one. So for that, we need to have effective policies. The third phase. So when the third phase comes, so what happens? Let's see. The dividend starts disappearing. क्या होता है? फर्स्ट फेज में बच्चे छोटे थे, कमाने वाले हाथ कम थे, बुढ़े लोग कम थे. सेकंड में कमाने वाला हाथ ज्यादा हो गए, खाने वाले छोटे बच्चे, बुढ़े उन भी कम हुए. टोटली 65% ऑफ इंडिया इज यंग, एवरीबडी इज वर्किंग. ये लोग 65% जो है यंग इंडिया है, वो 10-20 साल में अराउंड 2040 या से 2045 में ये सब यंग लोग बुढ़े हो जाएंगे. जो बाकी के जो छोटे बच्चे, बहुत छोटे बच्चे रहेंगे या बहुत बुढ़े बुजुर्ग रहेंगे, तब कमाने वाले हाथ कम हो जाते हैं, तो डिविडेंड स्टार्ट ड्रॉपिंग. दिस इज द मीनिंग दैट इट स्टार्ट्स disappearing. So we have to see, Japan is the best example, which is in the third phase. So in this way, so policy makers have to take the right decision, and the people who are interested here, so everybody has to put their cautious efforts. I am pressing on, we have to make a cautious effort to get the dividend out of this demography. So this is, I hope that one everybody has understood this demography. So demography is related with the economy, demography is related with the skill, so demography is related with our attitude. The still we feel that one, the development of the skill is not my cup of tea. Everybody we feel that one, we think that one, if we get a degree we will get a job. So those days are slowly disappearing. So skill is become most essential for the sustainable growth of the country. For economy, we need a skill. India is good in service sector. Now we have to become very good in what we call it as a manufacturing sector. So let me accelerate my webinar. And here is, you can see that one, what you call the demographic dividend of Japan has started in 1964. So it has ended at 2004. It is 40 years it has taken. Italy 18 years. India, it has started 2018. It is going to reach up to 255. So within this, and Bangladesh is also going to reach. So this is here. So we started, we are just ahead of what you call 2 years of this one, 2020. So many people talk about the skill, many people will talk about it. Still we are not made up our minds how to harness it. So we have to harness this demographic dividend. So we have to see, when I was doing engineering, very few colleges were there, few engineer students were there, few engineers were there. So whatever knowledge we used to have, it was enough to work for us. Now we are learning locally, but we are working globally. So naturally, if you don't have the skill, so you are not going to survive it. So we have to acquire that skill. Rather, I should say that we have to harness it, because the young generation doesn't understand the importance of this. So we faculties have to harness it. So these are the few potential, what you call, industries. So which was noted here. Health is there, financial service is there, education is there, public services are there. So here I would like to make one point. When I presented this particular slide in what you call Polytechnic College of BVS Polytechnic College, Dan Shetty sir, I think in 2015 you conducted one seminar on higher education.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Here.
So I would like to you just join, sir. I hope that Subhash Chandra was the chief guest at that function, sir. I am right, sir?
Yes, exactly.
Vijayanagar University Vice Chancellor, sir.
Subhash, yes. DC was the chief.
Yeah, sir. I would like to recall one what you call saying from the Subhash Chandra's speech there. So he said that one the liberalization, privatization started in India 1990.
Yes.
But the last sector to open up for the liberalization and privatization and globalization, privatization, globalization, and liberalization. Let me confirm all three things. They started in 1990. Education has now just started liberated. He said it in 2015. Now it is 5 years. In 5 years, we could have say so many autonomous colleges, so many private universities. So definitely the education sector is there where we can take the demographic dividend. So this is one more smart graph, a small graph which will talk about what you call all the populations. It writes from 2005 to 2050 talks about it. So it says that one all younger people are there. So it is necessary to have a skill in them. Only we talk about the skill, it is not enough. So we have to look out that where are the areas, which are the areas, and where we can skill our skill, we can develop our skill itself. So this was the one we have taken it from the Pallavi Jazz, what you call blog. So she said that one skill talent that can keep pace with expanding and changing needs of the industry. So this is there is a gap is there. There is a gap is there. So this gap has been identified by the faculty and industries. Right now we are in the transition phase. So we are talking about how to deal with this one. I'm very sure institute like what you call KCT, institute like Polytechnic Bagalkot, they are taking initiative to skill up the people. So definitely in coming days, the gap between the institute and industry is going to be narrowed down. So we must scale up skills training to meet employers' demand and fuel our own economy process if skilled correctly. The point why I've selected this one. So this is one more very important point, that is skilling in the correct direction. So skilled correctly, young force. So young mind requires a guidance from our system. So this is higher education is there. When we talk about the higher education, we talk about the research. So we talk about the sustainable developments. So higher education will what you call run the skill will run the economy. 2020 World Organization has given skill for resilient youth. This is very much important in this COVID-19, because people will start by simply conducting webinar, you are not going to gain anything. So we have to be resilient enough. So the theme of 2020 is resilient young. Resilient means bend, not break. Be flexible to adopt the things. So let me read. Resilient people develop a mental capacity that allows them to adapt with ease during adversity, bending, and behave like a bamboo instead of breaking, just bend it. So these are the 9 ways by which we can bend ourselves. So this is coming to the mantra of 2020 and 21. This is the mantra which is given by the Prime Minister. So right now we have to skill up. All faculties were not at all aware of the online teaching and learning. Now we are taking webinar. and many we have become well versed with how to deal with this webinar. So we have gained this skill. Is it not? That this is not enough here. So now we all faculties are thinking that one, how we can make it effective even after COVID. For that we have to reskill. One beautiful example was quoted by our Prime Minister. So let me quote that example. So the skill means what? It is, he is quoted that one, making of a chair. So if a person is have no how idea of making a chair, it will become a skill. If he able to make different types of the chairs, if he increase his capacity to make the different chairs for the different purposes, for the kids, for the younger one, okay, for aged one, for offices, for houses, for what you call different ergonomics. If you able to include the different ergonomics in making of the chair, so that will become reskilling. He know how to make the chair. Now he gained a skill to make chairs for different purposes, different varieties, different requirements. If the same person think of using that skill to decorate the complete office or to decorate a complete house, so then it will become upskill. So everybody has to skill themselves, everybody has to reskill, and everybody has to upskill. So dear students, you are in the first phase of what you call skill. You are just gaining cognitive skills. Once if you become perfect in cognitive skills, so you have to go to the technical skills. In technical skills, again, it is a cognitive one. Next, you have to go to the practical things, what we call it as a practical, or you should have an experience of doing the things what you gain during the college. So that is the reskilling. Reskilling, you can do it by taking up different courses, because without cognitive skill you cannot get the practical skills. So gain the hands-on training, so that is a reskilling. If you club this reskilling and skill skilling automatically, so you are industry ready. If you include soft skills with that one, so it will be an upskill for you. So when we do all these things, so as I said earlier, higher education runs the economy of the country, and automatically skill, reskill, and upskill will make us definitely Atmanirbhar. This Atmanirbhar concept is long back. The Gandhiji also talked about the what you call Gram Swaraj. It is self-sufficient, autonomous entity where all systems and facilities for a dignified living are available. All words of Gandhiji's are very, very important one. So let me highlight and conclude my talk. That is self-sufficient. Let me check where my this is writing here. Self-sufficient, autonomous, okay, entity, autonomous entity, facilities. This is most important one, dignified. So probably the COVID-19 has taught us these things. Now only thing is to reskill ourselves. Next is to upskill ourselves. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak in this.